I know, I don't remember a winter that we've had this much snow for this long. It's like pushing like 5 months now. All right, we are ready. Anything I can do? That's the question today, and it's about winter evergreen burn. Anything I can do. So we're gonna go out and take a look. The answer is right out there. We're looking at an Oregon green Austrian pine. Now this burned up about 3 years ago, and the answer is no. There's not much you can do right now. Everything that you want to do to prevent evergreen burning really has to happen in the fall before winter. But what you can do right now is work on your patience. A lot of the evergreens that do get the burn, if you're patient, you're going to get some of that needle desiccation. And what you want to look for, make sure that that tip bud and the lateral buds are tender. If that's the case, these needles over the next several months as we get into summer, they're going to desiccate and start falling off, drying up. But that new candle is going to pop out of there. That'll do the photosynthesis, and this tree is going to be okay. So the plant's hardy, it's just susceptible to that winter burn. So if being patient and waiting for the winter to play out is the only thing we can do right now, what can we do in the fall? As we come up on this little pyramidal Scotch pine, burlap. Burlap is one of the things that you can wrap around a plant. Holy buckets. I'm convinced, completely convinced, that a lot of the evergreen burning we see in our area is due to that reflection off the snow, like a mirror. You know, if you've ever gone snow skiing, you got the guy at the goggles, he looks like a raccoon at the end of the skiing day. So this is what's happening, we're getting burning. It's not nearly as present on this backside. So this is a pyramidal Scotch pine, and it's practical. It's easy to take something like burlap in the fall, you just wrap it around. That's also going to protect you from wind, the scorching wind. How an evergreen survives the winter in dormant stages is it's got a concentrated sugars in the needles, and that's it's got to stay hydrated. So prolonged wind, cold, and that sun reflection, that's what's causing this scorch. So burlap I highly recommend. Don't do anything with plastic. That's going to smother. You won't be able to control the temperature, but burlap breathes. You could either cut the top off something like this and just put it right over the plant, or just wrap it, clip tie it. That last plant we looked at, that Oregon green Austrian pine, it's just not practical on something that large. We're looking at the back side of a Brun's Serbian spruce. Not too bad, just a little bit of tip browning on this thing. This is my third try with this variety. And now look at the south side here. Look at how much more brown that is. So again, that reflection off the snow. And like I said, we've had snow for 5 months now. It just will not disappear. So this is going to get progressively worse. It's important to mention too that one of the other best things you can do is picking resistant evergreen varieties for your area. And we get hyper-focused on whether or not something's cold tolerant, hardiness, but there's so many other things you should take a look at. What is your soil? Is it a high pH, a low pH? That's going to affect a lot of evergreens. Is it clay? Is it sand? And what are you using to water your plant? Is it well water? It might be high in minerals and salts. So if a plant's not healthy, not establishing well, you're definitely going to see more of this scorching. And like I said, this is my third time on this Brun's Serbian spruce, but I've had excellent luck with a Gotelli Serbian spruce. The difference there is that Gotelli, it's on the north side of my house. It's shaded from that brutal southern sun, so I'm not getting that reflection burning, as I call it. And the south side, look at that, starting to burn up a little bit. And as I fear from the last time this happened, this just gets progressively worse. But this thing made it through it. Those buds we were talking about, they'll flush out, we'll get some needle shed, and this thing will make it just fine. Let's take a quick look at some varieties from a few years back that did not make it through the winter. This is a northern blue limber pine. Took a chance on this, and a lot of scorch, but the buds are feeling quite tender. So if we happen to lose these, they desiccate down. We'll see if this is okay. I mean, it was labeled hardy to zone 4. Take that with a grain of salt. All right, this is gold cone juniper. It's a Juniperus communis gold cones, the variety. Now this was a beautiful yellow foliage. Came into the garden center last spring, fell in love with it. Pacific blue Macedonian pine. I think it was a matter of I just planted this right before one of the worst winters ever, and just not hardy. Zone 4, but I think it's a Zone 5 plant. And the bushes lace, Engelman, Spruce. I gave this one 2 different tries, and there again, it just didn't seem like it could make it through the winter looking good. And the Brun Serbian spruce. We're on our 3rd try, but this one ended up in the chip pile. Now this was Royal Splendor Norway spruce. It's a North Dakota State University introduction, so I'm a little surprised to see the burn on it. I think we had this in a little bit too wet of an area, but it's turned around and is looking pretty good now. So we'll see what happens. The symptoms that we're seeing now, hopefully that's all it'll get, but it can get way worse. And the big Alberta white spruce. I was hoping this was going to be a good replacement for the dwarf Alberta spruce, but it hasn't been the case. We since then have transplanted this to a new location. So it's hanging in there. Each year it's been living, but you can see it never really came back from that winter burn. The buds that were intact, they just kind of languish. Here's a good example of a plant that's just not establishing well. It's a weeping white spruce. I think it's too wet. I've got an irrigation head, comes across here, and this is a plant that'll take it quite dry. I've got a beautiful specimen in another part of our yard. It never shows any of the winter burn we're seeing here, but each year those buds keep flushing out. It's hanging in there, and I'm hopeful it's going to catch because I really like the effect of having it go through this pergola over my water feature. Thanks for watching Garden Hike. I appreciate it. If you live in a winter climate such as this, spring will be here before we know it. We'll see you again next video. Oh my gosh, now we got to go all the way back through that snow.